All right, this is about the Shiloh Road Church in Door County. I don't know how many people are familiar with Door County, Wisconsin, but it's like the Nova Scotia of the Midwest. You know, there's a lot of the buildings and what's going on there are diminutive. They're they're excuse me, they're small and they're designed for not a lot of people, probably the neighborhood kind of thing. But this church here, this little country church, is about maybe 2 miles from our cottage on Lake Michigan, which is directly across from Ludington. But we ride our bicycle past this, and every time I saw it, I thought, "Oh man, would that be a nice thing to model downstairs?" Because it's small enough to fit in, and it's got enough personality to be charming in the whole model railroad thing. So like I say, this is our neighbors, our cottage neighbors said this is a Moravian church. Whoops. It was a Moravian church, and I'm not sure. Somebody said that Moravians were like Lutherans. And the gal about two cottages down from our cottage was just recently buried here, along with her husband, who was buried there a couple of years ago. But this is really down home, and it's perfect for a model railroad, at least in my eyes.
Mhm.
A lot of Norwegians in that cemetery. A lot of Norwegians came over and did a lot of carpentry work and that sort of thing in Door County at the shipyards. So I thought this is perfect, because as you can see, that's part of my heritage.
All right. Norway.
And like Ron too, that's where we get all our cars from, the Fjord 150. So at any rate, so this is the church. Now this 2 summers ago, my son got married, and I thought that'd be fun to commemorate that by having a wedding party by this little church.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I think it's the minister in the white outfit behind the bride, then the bride or the groom. And I don't know who the person is in the black, maybe it's somebody's mother. And then of course there's 2 little kids hiding in the bushes. So, and somebody said, this is the guy's got a wheelbarrow and probably brought the bride in that. Unceremonious. So at any rate, now there's some railroad tracks that go along here, which is part of my model railroad. And there was no trains here at all, ever. Hanke and Western Railroad was like 5 miles west of here. But that's okay.
Are those cows in the background painted, or are those figures?
No, they're real.
I see you don't have a fence around your cemetery.
That's true. Well, the cows keep that cut short.
That's right.
Do you know why they have fences around cemeteries?
Let me guess. Go ahead.
Everybody's dying to get in. So they put a fence up to keep them out.
Yeah, there you go. I can't wait to use that.
Yeah.
No, these are 2 little plastic cows. I don't know. I think they came painted. I got them from somebody that it is now planted over here. And his wife said, "Here, come on over and get all these things." And part of it was these cows.
Well, I was admiring the buildings in the back on the backdrop, and I was trying to figure out where the backdrop started.
Yeah, this is about 2 feet deep. And these buildings here are postcards I get whenever I go into a gas station to pay for the gas. The cart that's got all the postcards on there, and I grab all the ones that have barns, or like this is the barn, because this way they're the perfect size for this scene here. And to try to scratch build something like that would be impossible and not very practical.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, there you are. So this is the real one. This is the prototype. And
Did a good job.
oh yeah, this was not easy doing that. Each brick one at a time. No, this is the prototype. I went over and clicked a bunch of pictures here of the front and the back and the side. And it never fails, you know, like how many buildings have you seen that you would love to model? And I thought, I gotta get over there and take some pictures and measure it up, and never do. So my wife and I got on the bicycles and rode over here and clicked away. I've got a bunch more on here, but this is the kind of thing that really helps model something from, especially from scratch. Because
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna get a model of this anywhere.
No.
But you know, I got the front and the back and the sides, and made sure they had the light in the right place and that sort of thing.
Are
Tried
those,
to get,
are those windows stained glass?
no, they're not. They're just plain glass, window glass.
Okay.
Now, what I had done is when I did this, I made sure that there was a hole for each of the windows, so I could put like so I could put the glass or do something to kind of make them light up.
Well, that'd be the next thing. That and make the bell ring.
Tony, listen, is that Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my thorn in my side, the bell. Try to find an HO scale bell, and I looked all over Engine House and here, and I even called up Walther's, and I don't have anything like that. So I went to a craft store, and they had a bag of 12 bells, and they said, sure, just take one out of there. And I thought that was magnanimous on their part. They said, whoever gets that bag there, they're going to know that they're not going to know, because there's like little tiny things.
Nice.
And then my wife and I went over, and nice sunny afternoon, and I sketched it, and she had the tape measure, and I was busy writing down all the different dimensions. In fact, one of the things that has been a big help, not only did I take pictures, but I counted out like two bricks in the mortar high are 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So all you have to do is, you know, count how many bricks high this is. You know, like if this part of the thing.
Right.
What do they? I got to ask you guys. What do they call? You know, this is the steeple, and that's the sanctuary, of course. But what do they call this part here?
It's a narthex.
Yeah, good. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Narthex. So, any rate, but it was good to get all the different parts, even if I didn't know what to call them. And then, you know, like the different site 14 by 8, and then I went to, the hobby shop and bought a bunch of parts that were about the right size that would go in here. And yeah, it really pays to take pictures so that you can get the rough dimensions of the building that you're building from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a real satisfaction being able to cobble things together and have them look appear as they did in real life. And then but then again too, who's gonna call you a liar? People come down, are you sure? I said, listen, I'm as sure as I'm gonna be, and if you don't like it, hey,
Yeah,
you're the plans are
you're
maybe
innocent,
not quite yet. But
So
innocent till proven guilty.
yeah, nobody seems to mind. I've built a bunch of buildings for people, and they were just grateful to have somebody that stood in reasonably correct.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun doing we brought a little picnic lunch and sat in the grass, and I ran over and measured it, and then the county sheriff stopped by and he wanted to know what we were doing, and so he sat down and we had a nice little chat. But that's the charm of Door County. You know, people come and find out what's going on and how's it going and can I help you, and oh, did you know so and so.
Mhm.
Narthex. Huh. Well, here's the paper stand, and you know, like so it kind of helped visualize it when I was cutting out the windows and what size windows and the roof and all these sort of the narthex.
Mhm.
I got to say that a couple of times just so I remember.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So now this is the church part way, and I took 2 2x6s and glued them together, and then my neighbor up on our beach house had his table saw because he was actually building his own house, and we cut the you know, like the under, you know, like the frame of the church here,
Mhm.
and so he's a model railroader too, so he understood what I was after. So we cut the church itself with the angle of the roof and all that sort of thing, and then the narthex, and then the steeple was obviously not made out of wood. Now, here's the whole thing is made out of wood, which means you could just about throw it through the window. So it's a very sturdy model, but all the siding and the roof and whatnot went out very easily, and there was not a lot of guesswork with that. Now, for the windows, I took I think like a 3/4 inch spade bit and drilled all the way through it. Yeah, all the way from one side to the other, and maybe a little bigger. Well, it didn't matter. Whatever the windows from Walther's or Tichy would fit in there, and then I drilled a hole from the bottom straight up, and then I could put some windows or some little lights in there. In my infinite wisdom, I've built more buildings and I glued it together, and there's no way I was getting lights in there. So there you go. And then I got the proportion, you know, like the proportion was after, you know, like with the wooden part.
Yeah.
And this silo right here is done the same way. I cut it out on a table saw.
Wow.
So, and then just simply glued all these the random 2x whatever they were at the time. You know, like kind of random 2x.
Mhm.
So, but this thing here is just one solid block of wood all the way down. And this is, excuse me, this is concrete part of it was white paint mixed up with plaster of Paris. So it kind of had a little texture to it.
Yeah.
That logo.
And I made sure that, you know, so that they matched up like this way. But like I said, this is pretty darn sturdy stylo. And obviously you're not getting any corn in there.
Sturdy but low capacity.
Yes.
Look, the shingles here were made. I went over to the bookstore that also sold cigars, and I said, June, can I get the you know, the lady, can you give me the cedar
Yeah.
strips out of the cigar tubes? And then the lady that owned the place said, go through here, let me help you. I hate that stuff. I hate having cigars in this bookstore. You can take every one of them out. You can even take the cigars out and throw them in the trash. I hate it. So needless to say, I got the corner of the market on cedar shakes, and then I just each of these sheets, I wet it down with alcohol, just rubbing alcohol, and then rub like gray chalk on there to kind of give it the weathered look. And then cut them up one shingle at a time, about the size of a match head,
Oh,
which meant that I couldn't decide whether I was going to check into the nut house on my own or
really?
somebody was going to take me there.
Yeah,
Because the barn, it's like the roof here is like, oh man, it took forever, but it was so worth it.
Sure is.
yeah, looks great.
Thank you.
I like the way they mortised the
Mhm.
logs in the bottom there. It looks really good.
Now these are birch twigs, and I had my kids going out and collect all the birch twigs, and I about the size of a pencil, and then glued them to like a wooden armature. The armature for the barn here was like siding from my father-in-law's basement. And I cut it up and glued it together, and then I could glue the logs onto there. And then took like an X-Acto knife and trimmed that down so that it was plastic. In fact, I took the number 11 blade.
Is that truck a Dodge Power Wagon?
I'm not sure. I'm not into cars.
No, not in the cars.
Somebody gave me that, so they said, "Here, I bet this would work." I think I've got to have
Looks good.
my friend Fred Furcus weather that a little bit more. But then I used drywall compound for the chinking, and then a dental pick to kind of scrape it out, so it kind of looked like it was a little concave. So, and then I took my index finger, licked it, and then just kind of wiped off all the like the dusty look to it. So that was an amazing project. It was so worth it. Now this is the steeples, and I knew it was going to be sided, and I asked a gal that I used to teach with, who was a math teacher in the high school, and I said, Christy, like, how do I get a how do I measure that six-sided? And she explained it a little bit. So here's permeation number 1, permeation number 2, 3, 4, and then this is the final thing. And I got to weather it a little bit more, but sure pays to have friends.
Oh, yeah.
Sure pays to have friends, because it just is. It's more fun that way anyway.
Mhm.
And this is how I did the belfry. This is a empty pill bottle, and it was just the right circumference. So I put one strip of painter's tape around the bottom to kind of keep it all on line here, so it was all the same. It started from the same thing, and then another strip over here to make sure that it was the same height. And I started, excuse me, gluing them side by side. And then have this part here. There was also another piece that went in here, like the same dimension. And I took like a paper punch, and I paper punched the corner off of each of the uprights in there. So it kind of had a arc. Let me just go to the next thing here. So it had this arching,
Nice.
and this is a paper punch, and then I just glued that in on the inside here.
Mhm.
And there's the bell that I purloined from one of the craft stores around here. Not exactly purloined, because she gave it to me, but yeah. And then here's the steeple here, and this is the narthex, of course, as we all know now. There'll be a short quiz after this.
Right.
So let's see. Let me back up to where we were. But that was an epiphany. And the nice thing about a pill bottle, the glue didn't stick to it,
Uh-huh.
because there was another situation where I did that, and the darn glue held everything in place, and I couldn't use it because it was just it was the armature and nothing else. So I love finagling stuff like this. And this is the first permeation of the belfry. I thought, how about using a nut driver, like from a toolbox? Well, it wasn't quite the right dimension, and I can't remember, there was some other thing that didn't work. And the pill bottle was the answer to my situation. Here's a square. This square gets used for more stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this thing is gold. I think this is probably one of the best tools I have. It's like, I can't remember who made it, but it sure is fine.
Micro Mark. I have 2 of those now because I lost one and I needed it so badly. I bought another one, and of course I found the first one.
Oh, man. Yeah, that tool has come in handy for so many things. So,
Yeah, I love
back. Yeah, tools, you gotta have just the right tool. No, I just wanted to point out like these, in the narthex, these parts are just stacked on there. They're not glued in place, because I've taken this building here, different things, and I didn't want to get it knocked off and have the, this part here come unglued and that part, So this stuff here is just set into place. And this is Holgate and Rental brick material, both this stuff here. And I'll tell you, there was a hobby shop up in Green Bay that was going out of business, and I kind of got wind of that. So I bought up all their Holgate and Reynolds brick material. So I got the stash, and everybody knows I have it. And they're, Rich, could I get a little bit of that? And I said, go away. I said, that's too valuable, and I just can't afford in the future to have any of that, like get down to the end and like, God, now what do I do now?
Yeah.
So, but it works so good. It has a very positive working. It's a good material to work with. So if you ever see any Holgate and Reynolds stuff, hang on to that stuff. And the windows here, these are perfect windows. I don't know what else to say about this other than
Where'd you get those windows?
Tichy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tichy is, you know what I did? Tichy had a box of like one of everything.
Yeah, I don't think they do that anymore.
And I bought that box of one of everything, and I bought a catalog, or I got a Tichy catalog, and then a binder with baseball card slots, and I put each window in,
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
and then numbered them or to match the catalog. And boy, I'll tell you what, that has come in so handy. And so, yeah, one of my friends did a whole bunch of home, but he gave me that, and I was going to use that to hide a switch, like a little slide switch for the lights in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't done it yet. I could use Tom's help because I'm kind of, I don't get it.
Anytime.
You know where I live?
You give me an idea, I can't wait to get home.
I live in Wisconsin, so it'd be kind of a nice little drive over here. I think I can find some more electricians around here.
Is that stone foundation, is that a piece of like that is molded, or is it?
It's just like the Holgate and Reynolds, but this is it's not. I'm upstairs, and all my envelopes and stuff is downstairs, but you can buy that sheet of.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that's a sheet of.
I
And
thought
it's just about the right texture. No, I've done other foundations where I actually made a plaster casting of the shape of the foundation, and then went with a dental pick and described all the little blocks in there because I couldn't get.
I thought maybe you actually used little river stone and set them.
I tried that, I tried gluing little rocks together to make a foundation, but it just didn't have the right proportions. So I had to take a dental pick and scrape or score out the block and then stain each one of the little blocks a different color because they got like black up here and yellow and limestone and that. But it worked out good. Nick, if I do a clinic on something like that, I'll point that out. So
I did a little building one time and I hand painted all the stones.
yeah, you just stain them. Just put.
But
Balloon.
I made them too vivid.
Mm.
They should be more grayish or
A little more subtle.
toned down.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first adventure with a stone foundation.
Isn't that great though? Stuff like that, it's like every time you do something, it's like, God, this is fun.
You can always tell by looking and following other people's ideas and maybe expounding and making it a little better or, change something here and there. It's,
Well, after all, it's an art form.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's an art form, and to be able to satisfy that is, yeah. So, and of course, there's our friendly, this is our economy right back here.
Yeah.
You drive by their field and there's a certain aroma. And I said, no, that's the part of the economy here.
Uh-huh.
That's the smell of a success. In fact, we drove up to Green Bay today, big cattle truck, and heading over to, one of the places where these are converted into hamburger.
Yeah.
Now here's this is the real one, and this is like the small real one.
Right. Looks great.
Thank you. If you got any questions about this, I got a couple more other images that I thought I could share. But if you got any questions about this, I'd be more than happy to entertain that.
I do have one. I noticed that your outhouse is over on the side with the cemetery. Is that where, do they really have an outhouse with the church still? Probably not.
No, there was no outlet. But I just
Okay.
went there and I was going to move it somewhere where it was more convenient to the electrical.
Yeah, I
More
grew up,
convenient too. Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that so much, but no, that's kind of fun to ponder that. So, yeah, but I would love to know what Moravian is. Because somebody said, one of the neighbors said, oh yeah, that's a Moravian church, and that's where Mrs. Bees is buried.
Hey, Moravia, I was just looking it up. Moravia is in Bohemia.
Oh, yeah.
It's Bohemian, which is Western Czech Republic nowadays, Western half of Czech Republic. And one of its founding members of the Moravian Church is a man named Jan Hus, which rings a bell with some Protestant folks
Uh-huh.
back in the 1500s.
How do you know this?
I just looked it up on
Oh,
the internet because you were thinking about Moravia. I said, okay, let's see what it says about Moravian Church. And I found out where originated. And
it falls into place because there's a lot of people from Eastern Europe
yeah,
in our, like in Door County, not Door County, but south of Door County.
yeah,
In fact, they've got one church like that actually they've preserved their language, and one of the prerequisites of membership there is you have to be able to speak at least rudimentary. So, but that's fun.
Hey, Rich, is that the only Moravian church in the area?
I doubt it. I think there probably are more, but I'm not. I'll try to find out. But they're, talking to them and just
You just locked up.
Uh-oh, can you hear
There you
me
are.
now?
Yeah, now I got you.
Yeah, because if I back up, then I'm out of range. I don't know. I'll check on the other See, I want to know a little bit more about Moravian Church, other than just the fact that Mrs. Pease is buried there, and she was, I don't know, nice
can-
lady.
You could just Google Moravian Church and you'll get some good hits.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah.
if that's the only Moravian church up in the area, I met one of the ministers of that place way back when. My dad was a Methodist minister and he had the Moravian minister friend up in that area. I was born in Algoma. And they stayed in touch over the years, but hardly ever saw each other. But if you go to that church, and one of the past ministers was, I think, Weingart, that's the one.
We looked through the window on that church, and I'll tell you what, there was enough dust on some of the pews there that I suspect that they haven't been sat in for a while. But then again, who knows? So, any other questions about the construction, or just I got a couple more slides here to share.
Is the church active right now, or is it closed?
Well, it was open long enough to put Mrs. Pease in one of these stones here,
Yeah.
and I expect her husband's there too. But I couldn't tell you for sure, but I'll check for you if you like.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. So. But like I say, that's the perfect size for a model railroad. It's not too big and it's not too small. It's not like having like the Cathedral of Saint who knows who.
God,
I would not care to do that.
you look at it.
So, well, there you are. This is another scene this is around Cleveland. And I just love this scene with when they shortened up the siding over here and they tore out the other bridge, like they left this one, of course, and then this one got torn out. And then somebody said they talked to the county road construction people, and they said, you can take that out. And the railroad, no, they called the railroad, and the railroad said, if you want it out, you can take it out. It's not ours anymore. But this is pretty common, where they leave some of the ties that were pretty derelict. And I tried to get this like into the scene here. Kind of.
Very nice.
Thank you. It's fun. So satisfying to be able to do that. Reason I know about this is I used to work for the railroad around here as a laborer, and this was not uncommon.
Hey, Rich, I'd like to talk to you about the windows a minute.
Windows.
Yeah, this is a solid block of wood, and you must have put something black behind the window, right?
Well, see, I took a spade bit and I drilled a hole about a little bit bigger than the window would have been. But I made sure when I put the window in there, I cut it out, just cut the plastic out, just like small enough that it would hold a window, like the Tichy window.
Okay. So if you look but did you drill a hole all the way through the block? So that if you look through the window, you can see clear to the other side?
Yeah, you can go. I drilled it all the way through so that I could get wires in there, so I could put window, like I could put lights inside there.
Okay.
And I think what I'm going to try to, it wasn't stained glass, so that it'd be just, I think the light would be like right in the middle, and I would try to tone down the light so it wasn't like spotlights coming out.
Yeah, Tom's got LEDs that'll handle that.
Yeah. So when are you coming, Tom?
I don't know. I'm getting.
You don't have to answer that.
I don't like to drive at night, and long distances especially.
Well, next summer you can take the car ferry over and I'll pick you up.
Okay.
Well, he's down here. He's in Munster.
Yeah, he's
Very
got him.
bottom of Lake Michigan.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna worry about that part.
You got a pool hall up there, that'll get them.
Pool hall, gee, I don't know.
Ron, no, you know,
My neighbor used to have a pool table. And if you had come up here a couple of years ago, he would have given it to you.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Some of those old tables are worth a lot of money, believe me.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not into pool, but yeah, he said, well, actually what it was is his wife told me I could take it and give it to somebody because
I've
he's
been,
in the,
I've been
he's in-
playing 73 years.
whoa. Yeah, they had somebody on TV the other day where they were kind of shooting those pool balls around and they would hop over some of the other ones, do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I can do that. It
Well,
takes
then I'll find a pool
practice.
table next time you're here. So,
Do you know, not to change the subject, do you know, years back, I made a whole bunch of wigwag signals. And I researched for about 3 months, all the wigwags in the United States.
wow,
Where they were, if they were available, or if they were already spoken for, if they were still working, all that information is out there for you just, if you're into it. But
I'd like to get some wing waves. Do you make them or what do you do?
I made a dozen, but I don't want to make any more. That's since I had the stroke. My
Yeah.
hand is not.
I
what
only need a dozen, so.
Well, there's a company up in Wisconsin, and I can't think of the name of it. American.
Wigwag
something.
company?
But they make a wigwag. It's $350 for a set of them.
I guess I'm gonna stick to these kind of signs right here. What do you think? Should I just stick with this or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just tell the drivers all to look both ways, they'll be fine.
yeah.
No. No.
Rich, you just need to go up to Green Bay. I think there's a group up there that's doing it.
They're making them
That
there?
Green Bay group.
Yes.
I know,
No, I
look-
don't know if they make them there, but I think he sells them there.
Huh. I'll find out. I don't know what's, I'm not gonna spend $350 for that. though.
Well,
That's a long way to go
Well-
for,
they stop in the down position like you're supposed to, and mine just stopped anywhere you turn the power off to them, they stopped there. If they were over to
Sure.
one side or the other. Or,
well, I think these little cross bucks that look pretty darn nice.
oh yeah, that fits your scene there very
That
nice.
fits my pocketbook is more like it. So, well, anyway, so that's that one. Whoops, the other way. And then here's like I'm going for my MMR and I'm going for locomotives. And I asked one of the people that was part of they were judging and all that kind of stuff, for different things. And I said, how about this one here? Could I get him for the motive power? That's
Only
exactly.
You gotta be able to get it to move under its own power.
Well, Mr. Zuki over here, he was having a heck of a time getting it to move on its own power and it had 4 legs.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I don't know if you've ever researched things and talked to different people about, hey, how did this work? Or, how'd you do that? Well, this guy here, I got to interview his son, who's no longer with us. So both of them are gone, including the motive power.
Yeah.
But this is a clay pit, or this is a limestone quarry right here. And I'm gonna have to get myself a nag to stand in. And here's my high bridge. This is a clay pit over here.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm pretty excited about having gotten to this point. Dennis Eggert and I we debated how to get the river to look, like rivers aren't blue unless you kind of look at it from a distance. So I kind of feathered it out. So this is the color of the river now because of the tannin, like the trees and the bark fall in the river and then they kind of take up some of the color of the tree and they call it tannin, and it stains the river. And this is what it looks like in the distance. And this is the actual picture of Manitowoc from right about here. And there was one of the county sheriffs saw me out there and he didn't approve of that. So I said, you mind if I just take one more picture and then I'll get myself out of here. I said, okay, he was pretty, I think he ended up as a model railroader anyway. So, and that's my last picture. We were camping out here at Amherst Junction on the old Green Bay of Western. And we just wish there had been a train that came by, but
Yeah,
so,
very good.
thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
You
Any
guys
other-
you guys all have a great New Year's.
Yeah, you too. Happy New Year,
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be careful around those number 11 blades.
That's right. All right, well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you.
I'm sorry, could I just ask one more question?
Yeah,
I'm building this thing and I'm looking for.
Can't hear you.
Oh, because I got the picture in front. I'm looking for a grate. Like the grill on this thing. Anybody have any idea what it is?
I don't know that we still can't hear him, but it's the grill he's looking for.
I'm looking
I
for
think-
that grill.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to look for trucks.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll look
Yeah.
around, but I'm kind of out of things. I'm not, my wife won't let me go to the basement right now.
Uh-huh. They'll take you out dancing, but not going in the basement, huh?
Well, it's, yeah, the steps are the problem. I guess I
Sure.
could sit down like I used to when I was a kid and bump, bump, bump down on my butt, couldn't I?
There you go. Might be worse.
I got a friend, Fred Furcus. He was down with me when we gave a talk at one of your events in Indiana there. I'm gonna ask him because he's really into trucks. But that's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, there you are. That's all I got to say.
Well, thanks again, and everybody have a great and safe New Year's, and we'll see you next week.
Very good.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Keep getting better, Ron. Keep getting better.
Whoever she was.